After revealing that the Snake Pit racetrack is being added as a permanent addition to Star Citizen, I sat down with XGR co-founders BlackMaze and Osashes. We got their reaction to the news, talked about the history of the Snake Pit, and also got some insight on the future of XGR racing and Star Citizen racing in general. Watch the whole interview. You might find out some candid information about yours truly, as well as some insight on the upcoming Stanton Cup Round 3 at New Babbage. Enjoy. All right, so I just wanted to have you guys here just for a quick interview. I really just wanted to see, kind of gauge your reactions on this and ask you some questions about, the Snake Pit in general. We'll just start off with this. So you guys, obviously this is enormous for the history of Star Citizen. This is just it's unprecedented. It's setting a precedent. You guys are groundbreaking here, but not only that, I think you guys are making a huge impact on the history of video gaming itself. So I want you to just kind of take that in for a moment. You guys are reshaping the way games are developed. You're reshaping the way games are thought about and made by developers. How does that make you feel?
Damn, dude, you're giving me goosebumps here.
Well, it's how it is.
How does it make you feel, Ty?
It's pretty awesome. I just want to give tons of credit though to CIG, for being willing to take something like this that's community made and build around it in the game. That's such a thing that you don't see happen, especially where, we've harped on this so many times, but where BlackMaze and I came from before, that was just never in imagination that could happen. So cool.
Yeah, man, I can only write that. It's so true. We're used to doing our own thing in Elite and that's it. And then we come over here and we start racing. And I think one of the first things we all noticed is that Star Citizen really is by the players. Everyone's just a fan. Every dev is just a player. Either they were a player and they came in or they became a player as they started developing. I'm sure of it. And we're hanging out racing and you've got CIG devs online chatting with us, trying out tracks, asking us stuff about SCR, where can we find the tracks? They're in their weekend playing the game. So really it is by the player. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the support that they're giving us and how engaged they are. And it's just my mind is being blown every day in terms of how engaged they are. So I don't think, Ty, I think I can speak for the both of us when we say we never saw this coming in a very long time.
No, definitely not. Especially not with this pace. XGR has been around. It feels like just yesterday we were coming over. So the pace that everything's progressed as far as racing in the verse, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so obviously you guys have really obviously pushed the marketing aspect of XGR to extremes. I mean, you're everywhere. You're on the Reddits, you're on YouTube. BlackMaze, you had a following you kind of brought with you. I know we've talked about this before, but those numbers help you get visibility. So that's. Do you think? Obviously, you guys are developing awesome tracks. That's huge for the community. The racing community jumped in; they love it. How has your sort of experience with trying this and sort of not getting the results you wanted in Elite carried over for your new attempt over in Star Citizen?
I don't even think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, but I don't think there's been a difference in attempt. You know what? The big difference is the community over here at Star Citizen has driven this to where it is. This has to be said, because again, I don't want to keep pointing back at the Elite thing, but there was just a smaller group of people that were interested in racing, just a different demographic. And here at Star Citizen, it's huge. There's so many different people play. And whenever we were at a low, you would have so many people in the community wanting more and helping us push and drive it to become more. So if anything, the big difference is that this is by the community. It is not just me and Ty. It is all of us wanting more from it. The amount of people here with Star Citizen that want to race in different ways too is so incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Along those lines, when we came over, we knew we wanted to race. Joey and I, that's what we are. We're racers, to begin with. And we looked around, we were we want to find a crew that does a bunch of ship racing, basically every single month, if not multiple times a month. Couldn't find it. So then we're screw it. I guess we're going to have to build our own. So we decided all right, let's kind of go all into this and see what happens. We'll test the waters, do some different racing, see what formats work over here, see how the ships handle, see what, try things. and it just
Yeah.
exploded. I think in that first month, we got, I don't remember, hundreds and hundreds of people on the XGR Discord.
Yeah.
So that immediate burst of just people that are like, yes, we want to race too. That's what kind of drove it to like, all right, our labors aren't going to go unwarranted over here. We're actually going to be building something that people will enjoy.
At the cost that we never get to race ourselves. Well, this happens all the time. Like we barely have time to race.
We need to get some staff. Yeah. All right. So
yeah.
Oh, so okay. So racing in Star Citizen is nothing new. This is something that has literally been in since prior to the persistent universe going live. So it has been a system that has been in for so long. And for a while, it's been, of course, there's Atmo, who started things a few years ago, maybe back in like 2017, 18. And prior to that, it was just really Arena Commander with CIG doing some scattered, scramble race attempts in game and teasing things, but never really doing any improvements. You guys have come in here. You've been here for approximately 1 year now. 2021 was when you guys started making. So the pace in which you've accelerated a re-interest in racing is actually insanity, considering this game has been out for almost 10 years. Racing has pretty much just stagnated, and then you guys come on the scene and boom. Like suddenly it's the hot topic. Ship racing has never really been a thing prior to, of course there's been the ground races, but ship racing, this is it. So just a quick question, just to get it out in the air. You guys are here to stay, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go. I don't know where the limit is with Star Citizen and CIG and just to get back to what you were saying, and Ty as well, you were talking, you mentioned Atmo and you mentioned that it wasn't really a thing like in the persistent universe. I think Ty, you and I, we were both very surprised that it wasn't more of a thing already, considering that Star Citizen has all these racing ships and they're developing this game. Just look at their ships and you realize, okay, they're thinking about racing because M50, Razor, these are all racing ships. So what is their plan? I think we went into this with like, what is their plan? Let's look at what there is. Okay, we've got Atmo Esports and what they're doing with the Daemon Rally is absolutely awesome. I love that it became lore and we kind of looked whether we would end up in a situation where we would both be doing the same thing, but we're not because they are focusing on the ground racing stuff. It appears so. And so we started our own thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Joey's going to stick around. I started a Minecraft racing league like last week, so probably going to be.
Oh, no.
Well, whatever you guys brought over, it has put a fire up under the asses of all of the racers, myself included. I've been a racer since the very beginning. I've always loved Arena Commander racing. So,
I was going to ask you, Splen, because you have been racing. For how long have you been racing? And what is your history with the whole racing thing?
Since the beginning. You're talking, I signed up as a backer in 2013 prior to any of the modules going live. And 2015 was when I finally played for the first time. I kind of fell asleep, during the first few years as they were just doing the hangar module and I was doing other things. In 2015, end of 2015, I was like, all right, let's take a look and see what this game's doing. So I look at it, I'm like, oh crap, stuff's happening. They're opening up the PU. The 3.0 was about to go live at that point. And I was like, all right, let's get in here. And I fell in love with the faster ships. I started out with just Battle Royale, just flying around shooting things like, oh yeah, this is real cool. And I'm like, wow, the M50 is really good. I'm like, what else can I do with this? And I took it into Arena Commander. I'm like, holy crap, this is such a rush. I had my monitor about 3 inches away from my face. I didn't even have joysticks at this point. It was just mouse and keyboard. And I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. I've never had a feeling like this in a game before. Not since playing like the racing games of yesterday, long time ago, like N64, they had a couple experimental racing games. One was called, I think it was actually called Extreme G was the name of one of the games. That I used to love racing, just fast paced, like you're just a bullet. And I'm like, wow, this is something. But, we had a couple events in Arena Commander Racing here and there. The Tentacle Cup was one of them from PGO. And just a couple like the Murray Classics Cup a year before you guys jumped onto the scene, really just months actually, was the last big event I participated in before, I started kind of like paying attention to XGR and like, oh, who are these guys, But yeah, since the beginning, I've been waiting so long for something like this to just because I haven't had time. I work full time. I love racing, but to organize events like this, it's just a lot of resources and energy I just didn't have. So, you guys have that. Whatever formula it is, you guys brought that over, and that is it's just everything we needed, and we got it now. So thank you. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. It took us a while to get you to come race because I remember when we were, Ty and I, we discussed this all the time, like how many different people are there that are interested in racing and can do this at a certain skill level, because you want that exciting competition where it's not just everyone messing about, and not able to complete 10 laps, for example, at speed. And we knew that there were a bunch of people that did a lot of this in, time trial in Arena Commander, but we didn't know the crowd. So it was kind of hard for us to learn exactly how big the crowd was, who was in it. And then later on, of course, we learned about Splen. And that's what I started pulling to try and get you to come race with us. And it took a little effort, but here you are.
Oh, so I'll be honest, around that time, which was middle of 2021, so early, this would have been 314, 313. After so many years of CIG not really giving racers any attention whatsoever, the Arena Commander tracks had stagnated, there's bugs everywhere. I was just kind of you know what, I'm so just kind of done with this. I was just kind of out of it. I'm I'll play with my org, we'll do the events, I'll try to develop ship racing as a strategy and keep up with the flight model. And that was about the extent of it. Going into the PU and getting set up to race to me was a chore. So you could actually, I saw you guys on the scene. I thought what you were doing is awesome, but I was just it's so much effort. I'm do I really want to just bother with something that CIG is not paying attention to? And then suddenly it happened. This was about around February of this year, where I think it was DJ Bunton came into Legacy Fleet Discord. And he's hey, can I talk to some Arena Commander racers real quick?
Wow.
And I'm what do you mean?
That what's going to happen for you?
Yeah.
Huh?
So he's I'm okay, what do you need? I'm I have the world record on all 3 tracks. What's up? And he's hey,
That's so good.
He's yeah, we're thinking of revitalizing this. We're thinking about revisiting racing in Star Citizen. I'm oh my God, are you serious? Is it happening? So I'm oh, suddenly I was awake. I was oh, okay, well, yeah, here's this and this and this. Here's all the Discords. There's XGR. There's Pink Giant Octopus. Of course, there's Atmo. There's Crux Cup. I'm here, go here, go here. And so DJ Bunton went to all these Discords and he started talking to you guys and found out how big XGR was. And he started talking to PGO and all the old Arena Commander guys. And he's okay, what can we do to make this better for you? And we gave them a huge feedback thread. And then one thing led to another. And of course, Nino was oh, hey, the chain of communication got up to him and was these guys have courses. I know you were playing around with making race courses. These guys are already doing it. And that's how Nino got the idea of well, let's just use theirs. So one thing led to another. And it was just holy crap, it's happening. It's time for me to get back in. It's time for me to wake up. So I just got back in it. And then I'm let's go. XGR, I want to see what you guys are all about. The first race I joined with you guys was the New Babbage City Tour inaugural. Where I realized that I'm terrible in Atmo and got my ass kicked. But it was so fun. You guys had an organized thing. The heat system was awesome. I was oh my God, this is great. Even though I'm struggling to keep up with all these incredible, airplane type atmospheric racers, I'm this is crazy. I have to relearn how to do this. And that really just put a fire under my ass. I started streaming again. I got a huge following all of a sudden. I'm just dude, this is it. This is what I've wanted. This is it. So CIG once again, just doing it. They're doing it for us. Finally. I've been waiting for so long. So of course I can't thank DJ Bunton enough. I can't thank Nino enough. Everybody who's just keeping the dream alive. And this is a CR dream, by the way. This is a Chris Roberts thing. He loves the idea of ship racing in the game. This was something that was an original goal with when they got the Kickstarter. It was on the Kickstarter list. So this is old. It has always been intended to be in the game. It just has been set aside because it's not as accessible as the other gameplay loops. You're talking mining, you're talking bounty hunting, PvP. That's way more accessible because let's be honest, guys, racing is hard. It is really difficult to do this. I mean, it takes a very specific skill set and a lot of dedication and practice. So it wasn't as accessible and not, let's be honest, not quite of a moneymaker as other gameplay loops. So it hasn't been paid attention to. But now with people like Atmo Esports and you guys bringing in the spectator sport of racing, bringing in people to watch it, they're money, there it is. Let's go. And so now here we are. So racing has become all the different aspects it's always meant to be. It's fun for us. It's fun for the people watching. CIG is loving it. I mean, it's a great test bed for their ships and their development. That's what got me back into it. So yeah, it's just this perfect storm of things. This is our year, guys. This is it. It's just, oh man. So yeah, thank you guys for doing this. And of course, thanks CIG for slapping me in the face finally and saying, get back in here. So.
Really cool to hear your backstory too. It's really awesome. And it's got to be said, you mentioned the whole audience thing. And that's so true because early on, we struggled to find people to help do this. It was just Ty and me, right? So it was we can either host it and keep it low key underground feel because that's all we can do to cover it. Or if we can find a bit of a team, we can Ty and me, we can take our hands off the race organization and we can focus on making it a spectacle to watch, stream it properly, get overlays on screen and all that stuff, and just focus on talking about what's happening and making it accessible to an audience. And so shout out to Luigi and MarbleMaze and NeoJet, all these guys and girls helping
Diplomat
us
with that overlay. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Like, are you kidding me? That is like professional level shit right there.
Yeah.
The last stream was so incredibly done with you guys. And like, he is a programmer. That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah. It's only going to get bigger and better. And definitely a shout out to Diplo for making those amazing overlays. Luigi is then our race director. He is herding all the racers, putting them on the start line, making sure all the times are kept. And because there are no official tools, every time a racer comes across the finish line, he presses a button for each individual racer to make sure that their lap time is tracked and their lap count is tracked. And it's chaos, it's mayhem, but that's the thing, right? We set out to do this even though there is no support, to show CIG what we like and how we would like to see it done. So let's hope they take inspiration from all of this and help us do it better in the future. And hey, we did hear Xylo and Jared promise some interesting things on a very interesting Star Citizen Live. So I can't wait for sometime end of August, I believe. That's going to be really cool.
That was an exciting thing. Yep. Yeah. Anything you want to say, Ty?
That's the cool thing, right? Sorry.
No, you're good.
No worries. Yeah, it's just like you had mentioned that the production's a big part for us, because if nobody wants to watch the racers, lots of the racers don't, get to show off their skills. That's a big point of us. So, I mean, it's only up from here. That's our biggest plan, is to just keep growing the production, value. Do everything we can to make it as fun for the spectators as possible, to inspire people to come race, or inspire people to just maybe pick up a razor and go play, a little bit, even if somebody doesn't get, end up enjoying it enough to put in, like you mentioned, the massive amount of work it is to become a really good racer. At least they could pick up a razor and go have some fun around one of the tracks.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go ahead and shift gears here for a minute and talk about the race itself. So, Snake Pit, you guys had, like, I don't know how you did it, but you came across what has become probably one of the best tracks ever. Period. I mean, CIG has obviously seen this. And of course, there's some bangers out there. I mean, there's the club track, there's Lorville Gateways, but Snake Pit, it has that je ne sais quoi. You know what I'm talking about? It is incredible for like the turning, the drifts, the ships the way the ships move on that track. It is chef's kiss. How did you do it? What caused you to stumble upon this place, find those bits, and just be like, this is it? This is, like you just made this absolute banger of a track. Tell me about it.
How did we find it?
It's funny how it worked out, because we were just basically, all right, we know how many tracks we want for the Stanton Cup. We need to fill up some more, right? So we're out searching. We just happened to be on Clio, probably dropped into Ray Ari McGrath, I'm assuming, right?
No. That's the cool thing. So we went to every moon to see if there was something. We went to Clio. We'd been driving around forever, flying around, couldn't find anything. Suddenly we find the Snake Pit. Now I'll skip what we did there, but then we were like, okay, is it easy to find? Because you don't know, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you got to go OM1, OM3, and it gets complicated. We turn on the quantum drive and we're 8 clicks from Rayari. Like, it was meant to be. Yeah.
When we just spotted, an interesting can. There's quite a few there, right? But, so we dipped down and just that same old process of like, oh, here looks like an interesting line. Try this, go around it. Oh, this feels cool. As soon as we locked onto Drifter's Paradise, which I think was early in the track build, we were like, all right, this is money. We gotta build the rest of this out. So that still is my favorite part of that track. So
here's the thing. Now we have Osashes here claiming that the XGR club track is his new favorite.
Maybe a smidge, just a smidge. Snake Pit is awesome.
It's a cool track,
Snake Pit has a really close place to my heart. So anybody that knows like where the name came from, Snake Pit, actually, there's a place called the Honda Hill. So I ride and race dirt bikes a lot, right? There's this little canyon that runs through, just a little drainage canyon that we call the Snake Pit, because there's like snakes inside of it, right? And then we used to hit jumps out of it and stuff. So it looks similar to the Snake Pit. So like the name comes from a place that it's really home, like where I spent most of my childhood. So love it.
You have immortalized it now. I hope you know. Like literally, it's immortalized.
It looks like it. Osashes is our official come up with names person, because I don't do that very well. But
Splen, names.
You said it really well. No, they're great. You said it really well about the Snake Pit. And I mean, Snake Pit is what, 0.3 ATM is really a thin atmosphere. And I think that's where the magic, it's like a magic balance, right? Where you can go faster. You don't have as much aerodynamic pressure when you're strafing and yawing. And you can kind of, especially when you're boosting, you can drift with just yaw. You don't necessarily have to roll if you don't want to. And that's what makes it so fun and flowy. And I'm always conflicted because it's almost like one ATM, you can't have as much fun, but you still won. I mean, our Corp Club track is 0.8, I believe. So it's quite a lot thicker and you can still have fun there. So it's possible.
It's a different style, though. I mean, you're talking about when the atmosphere gets thicker, it becomes more and more technical, and that track is technical. Like the city tour, or I'm sorry, not the city tour. The club track is incredibly technical. You have to roll hard into your turns. The best ships for that are the best ships at aero braking and using their lift profile to turn. Yeah, exactly. Whereas in Snake Pit, you're absolutely right. With the 0.3 atmosphere, you do have this mix where I do find myself sometimes tricording around turns or doing a 45-degree turn instead of a 90, and still getting, as you've seen, like bangers of times. Like I'm able to really push it out with that balance. It's a different kind of technicality, but it's, again, more forgiving. It's wonderful in that regard.
I don't know how you do it, dude. You and I'm gonna say his name wrong. Zoaf. The way you put the time, I'm impressed, man. Like I look at your videos and I'm like, how is it 2 or 3 seconds faster? Like how, and it's the difference between when you're doing it and when you're watching somebody else do it, right? When you're watching the replay back. But I am well impressed. You guys are kicking ass.
I mean, that's the thing. We both started as 0G racers, right? In Arena Commander. Zoaf has been he's been kicking my ass in AC. So that's the thing. And we are able to kind of translate some of those 0G maneuvers like tricording and 45-degree turns into that track because the atmosphere isn't quite as thick. I think that's where we find our success there. Again, it's just such a perfect balance. It is really just this perfect concoction of all the things that make racing in Star Citizen great, just compartmentalized into this, half a kilometer long track. It's wonderful.
Yep. I think Sader was one of our first, he joined the first Pro-Am race we did there and kicked butt. Mm-hmm. And that was one of those races where Sader was at
he's a 0G racer. He came from Arena Commander. We used to race with him. So there you go. Like, it just has that, again, that je ne sais quoi, that thing. It's just perfect, Yeah, it was a cool moment because he had a skill level that was much higher than everybody else. And it's really cool now. There are so many people in the community that have really stepped up. And I think it's like in preparation for the Stanton Cup, people were really like ramping up to get to that level. And now in the Stanton Cup, we are seeing that, right? Because it is contention all the way up. Like place 1 till 5 is like everyone's super close, and it's really fun to watch that develop. So we just need you to keep blowing up a few more times, and then we can. I'm not in first place. I want you to remember that I'm in third place. Like anything can happen. It's very fragile right now.
Yeah, but you're clawing your way to the top.
I'm gonna try.
I have no doubt about it.
The next one's real tough for me. The New Babbage City Tour. That is my nemesis. It is a tough one. That's so technical.
Are you ready to reveal what you're bringing?
You saw that, did you?
All right. Okay.
I'm bringing the P72. We did some science last week, and no, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say bring it. I'm not going to recommend it because the P72 flies differently than any other ship in atmosphere.
You're really doing this.
I'm really doing it. Yeah. Here's the thing: like you have to brake on the turns. But the amount of speed you get on the straightaway is worth it. I'm getting like I played with the 350R extensively, and I played against Canadian Maverick and people who are really good at it. It doesn't add up. It does not stack up to the P72. Wow.
Oh, this is a huge reveal. Honestly, I don't know if you realize, but so for those that don't know, P72 is fastest in Atmo, I want to say right now, between all of the racing ships we have. But it doesn't turn unless you boost. And if you're boosting, of course, only on the turns, you're not going to have any boost on the straight. So you got to find a balance there. I ran it on Lorville gateways, and I was chasing Data Machine in an 85X. So 2 ships, completely different end of the spectrum. And I did notice, like, I can't keep up in the turns, but on the straights, I'm making practically everything up again.
Yes. That's it. That's the ticket. So, but again, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, racers, bring this, because it's still pretty close to the 350R, and the 350R is way easier to fly.
Yeah.
With the P72, you have to brake. You have to brake. Like that's a concept that people don't understand. You have to actually care about the speed control and not just boost in the turns. You like on the snake and bake, the first big set of turns, the chicane in New Babbage City Tour, you got to slow down or you're dead. Period. You have to have, if you don't find that right balance of speed and control, you're not going to be able to do what people like me are able to do with that ship, people who live in that ship like me. So I'm not going to sit here and say, do it, because there's a strong chance you will kill yourself in that ship.
Are you focusing on like quite a lot of retro braking then? Just
a little bit.
Reverse?
You have to. Like you know, again, like you said, there's not that much boost fuel to go around. So you save it for the turns, and then when you don't have it for a turn that you need it, you got to start retroing, or else you're going to die.
I don't know. Like, you got to stop me if I'm ranting, and I don't know how long you want to have us on here, but like one thing like I love about the P72 is the fact that it doesn't turn, because it gives me a glimpse into the future, I think, of Star Citizen, where ships don't use overpowered maps to turn, they use control services. And it's like the P72 right now, it doesn't have control services. It probably has maps that are realistic in power for what they intend. And so it struggles.
Right.
And then on the other side of the spectrum, we see the M50, which is supposed to be the same, but now its overpowered maps allow it to turn and not buck like crazy.
Right.
So it's, and again, you know, P52, P72, completely different handling. Again, it shows me P52 with overpowered maps, P72 with probably good maps. I love it. I just love seeing the differences in how it influences the ship. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so look out. I'm gonna bring it, and you know, it's gonna be crazy to fly that thing again. If anyone wants to do it, be my guest. But you better put some time on the track with it, because it's not like anything else you've ever flown. It's crazy. Like on the tracks, like
overtime compared to everybody else.
I mean, sure.
It's a lot more effort required.
And on tracks like Snake Pit and the Club Track and even Euterpe, forget it. Don't bring it.
Yeah.
It's not going to do you any good on any track that has nothing but turns. You'll die. You're just going to be in last place. And we've seen that. We saw a couple people bring the Archimedes in the Club Track, and it was, you know. But on this track, I mean, when you got big straightaways and it's heavy atmosphere, and, no, spoiler alert, I'm bringing it to rush hour tomorrow, so you'll see it in action for yourself. You'll be able to make that judgment call.
Oh, that is so cool.
Right. So you'll be able to see it in action. I practiced a little bit with it yesterday. I'm probably going to put in a little more time today, but not too much.
Here's for you. I'll be racing Rush Hour too, because Ty and I have a deal where I'm racing Rush Hour. He's racing the Beijing Blitz.
Nice.
And so I'll bring a P72. I got you.
Okay. I mean, like I said, it's put some time in practice today, but like it got the speed.
Practice?
Nah, forget it.
If I don't practice, I have an excuse tomorrow when I don't win.
There you go. Plausible deniability. All you need.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I really just wanted to kind of get you guys' opinion on the weight of the matter. And of course, a little bit of history behind the Snake Pit was lovely to hear. I mean, I slotted this hour for this, but you know, I don't really have anything else to say, but like, this is your time to kind of like freestyle. Like, tell me about what you think this means. Tell me about the future of XGR and racing. Let's just get some stuff out there you want to say.
If there's ever going to be an official CIG Star Citizen esports ship racing event, you know, where everybody's sitting in their consoles and at some event, I'm available.
We want to be there. No, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's make it happen.
I'll cast this, no problem. But no, seriously, thank you for having us on. And I can't say thank you enough to CIG and everyone at Turbulent as well for being so engaged and not scared to just talk to us and develop this thing. You know, just they're not shy. I love it. They fully embrace this new modern way of dev community communication, and I love it. I can't get over how amazing it is, and I look forward to whatever they bring in the future on that part, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, driving the racing scene one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. We're not done experimenting and stuff, right? So Stanton Cup, we're kind of set in stone, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing other kinds of racing, other experimenting with other things. We've got probably some cool ground racing coming up with XGR here with the next round. So lots and lots of cool stuff in the works right now. So lots to be excited about.
All right.
Website, racexgr.com. Go there. Yep. Go check us out.
That's right. All right. And what is it? Discord.com/XGR. It's really that easy, right? Discord.gg/XGR. Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay. That'll wrap it up.
Thank you.
See you guys. Goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
See you.